Hey Internet, Matt here, and today I'm making a different kind of video. Um, Honestly, I'm on vacation at the time of filming this, and I was dead asleep after spending some time outside with my family, but I feel so compelled to make this video that it woke me up, and here I am. Now, you might be asking yourself, what topic could evoke that kind of response? And I'm going to answer that for you right now. Mental health. I know it's a very big topic. It's covers a lot of big questions that do not have easy answers. And I'm not here to talk about that subject in its entirety. That's more than I'm qualified to speak about. But I do want to talk about my experience with it in particular. Now, to give you some background, I am a licensed minister who has worked in everything from sound booth ministry to youth ministry. And now I'm an assistant pastor at the church in my town. Um, During the day, I have a career as an IT professional. In all of my experience, in all the places I've been and the things that I've seen and done, nothing was able to prepare me for the day that mental health became an issue for me personally. I remember the moment that it rushed into my life like it was yesterday. We were in choir practice getting ready for a concert, and I was standing on the platform leaning on the Leslie for the organ and watching my son play with some other kids at the back of the church. At some point in that, he started having a negative interaction with one of the other kids, and it was like a switch flipped in my brain. Memories that I had always known but long buried flooded back like a tsunami. The wave of emotion and anxiety was so powerful it nearly knocked me off of my feet. I was transported back in time against my will and watched parts of my past play in front of me like some kind of virtual reality nightmare. In an instant, I knew something was very, very wrong. I ran outside. I called my doctor, trying desperately to schedule an appointment. And all I got through to was voicemail. And it would be morning before I got some sort of assistance or information. By the time I got that call back, I was advised that the best thing I could do would be to get on anti anxiety drugs and call it a day. They would just prescribe me some pills over the phone. I would take those, and the end. There was no other help, no other assistance, nothing for me out there except drugs. Well, I refused. I didn't want to submit myself or my family to a lifetime of drug induced haze and side effects. I've heard too many horror stories. I've seen too many people's lives just driven in bad ways from these kind of things. I know that there are people that get them and they need them, and it does help some, um, but I wasn't willing to do that. And I knew I needed help, but I didn't know who I could reach out to. And while mental health is more of a mainstream topic now than it ever used to be, at the time this was happening to me, it was a very negative thing. I talked to my wife about it, of course. She saw something was wrong, she knew something had happened. Um, but I lived in fear of judgment from my peers, friends, and family. Not because they're bad people. They're not. They love me. They supported me through the whole thing. Not because I couldn't trust them, but because all of my life I had been exposed to the idea that mental health was a weakness, a spiritual failure, or proof that I was doing something wrong. And I want to pause here and tell anybody who's listening that this is none of that is true. None of those things are true. Now, sure, there may be people who judge you, who look at you differently, or who treat you like you're broken or weak, but that doesn't make it the truth. Many, if not all of those people, have no experience with what you're going through. And I know that because I used to be one of them. Now, my fear of the stigma surrounding what I was going through slowed my progress, but I pressed forward. I refused to go down that way. I refused to lose my family, everything God had blessed me with, the life that my wife and I had built just because of what I was going through. I finally found a professional who I could talk to in a neighboring city. And therapy is another thing that some people look on negatively. Let me assure you that it is not. After a couple of meetings with my therapist, she was able to determine what was happening. It had a name: late onset post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. This beast that was ravaging my body and my mind could be identified, which meant I could fight back. Now, I attended targeted therapy sessions twice a week for over a year and supplemented that with continuous prayer. I was at the church nearly every day on my face for hours of praying for deliverance and strength. In that time, I learned everything I could about what I was going through. For months, I was trapped inside my own body. I'm a very controlled person. My emotions are level. I don't have extreme highs or extreme lows. And with PTSD raging full tilt through my brain, I lost control of all of that. For no reason, I'd find myself crying, yelling, laughing, curled up in a ball in a corner, weeping or punching walls in baseless rage. It was terrifying. I'd practice the exercises I was taught to bring myself level again, pray until the pain and flashbacks passed, and come home to my family exhausted and overwhelmed. I'm so grateful for my wife. She was so understanding and patient with me. She was my rock in the tempest I was living through every day. Now, here's the thing about PTSD. If you experience it longer than 2 weeks after a trauma, there is a good chance that you're in for a lifetime experience. It's not a matter of strength or weakness. There's just no cure or immediate solution. Now, there are a lot of life changes that make things better for you and those that you love, and finding those for you is important. The person you see in this video now is nothing like the person I was before. And during my experience, God changed me. He softened me. He broke down some of the preconceived notions that I had and granted me a compassion for my fellow man that I didn't know was possible. After a year and a half, I was able to stop regular therapy and live my life again in a peace that at one time seemed so unattainable. Now, why am I sharing this? Why am I telling my story? Honestly, I don't know. While I sit here out on the balcony of my hotel, I'm overwhelmed by the thought and memory of what my experience was, and at the idea that somebody else out there might be going through the same thing. Somebody out there today needs to know that I understand what you're going through and that there is hope for you. You can fight and win. You can live your life again. Now, I still have PTSD. Like I said, if you have it for long enough, it's a lifetime adventure. But God has given me a tremendous amount of healing that allows me the freedom to live my life and help others. Don't let fear guide your decision making when it comes to your mental well-being. Anxiety and depression are major causes of death in our society, especially among young people and those in my age group who are just now coming face to face with parts of their past they tried to avoid. There are people out there who want to help you, people that love you and support you on your road to healing. You can make it. And if nothing else, I'm in your corner. I did it, and so can you. I hope that this finds someone who needs to hear a word of encouragement today. You can make it through this ordeal. And if I hadn't made it, I wouldn't be able to sit here and share my story. God bless you, and have a great day.